if you can see this, but this little device here, I guess it's a little piece of jade. It's a little piece of jade on a little, it looks like a little mini paintbrush roller. Yes, and you roll it on your face. Hey, Nick Williams here. And I believe I'm live. I believe I'm on Facebook Live, but I'm using a different program today. And this is Medicare and Coffee number 3. We're still ironing out I'm ironing out the kinks to the program. This is where I have a little bit of coffee and a little bit of conversation with you and talk about Medicare, other issues that may affect you. Turn this volume down a little bit so that I have a very loud voice. So sometimes it's just overwhelming. So again, I believe I'm loud. I believe I'm live. I'm messing everything up this morning because again, I'm using this new program to stream live on Facebook. So I'm uncertain at this moment if I'm even live, and I don't even think there's anybody listening yet. Then I got the booking. I get from United Healthcare, which is the AARP product. They back the AARP products, Medicare Advantage, Medicare Supplements. They have a bunch of products, but they send out a news magazine on a monthly basis. And I was just going to read some of the news. I actually had, you can see this big screen here that I have. I was actually going to put the news up on the screen as I was reading it so you can read along with me. I can do this. I can actually put it on the video and have you read along with me. So I'll do that, but it's just too much all at once. And I just didn't feel like doing all that today. But so instead of you seeing the news, I'm just going to tell you the news. And again, this is about Medicare and coffee. You know, this is Saturday at 10:17. Most people have had their coffee already. And I tell you what, I had my first cup of coffee around 6 a.m., but this is actually my second. But I wanted to do this because I want to get it right and make it, a better presentation. So I'm just going to go through the news here in this magazine because I went through the news in another online thing yesterday, and it's just terrible news. I'm just not doing it. I'm not doing it on a Saturday morning, and it's a beautiful Saturday morning here in South Carolina. Okay, well, the first article says eat the rainbow, and that's just the different types of foods. That's a big thing now. Everything is micro-studied, so if you eat the red fruits and vegetables versus the yellow or orange fruits and vegetables versus the green, you're going to get different phytonutrients. There is data behind this. I've studied this, and I can share some of this stuff with you over time because I've studied this stuff in depth with you. I would never say you should do this or you should do that, but I'll just tell you what I've learned. Each of these different categories of colors have different phytonutrients that may affect your body or aid your body in different ways. Now, I do take some phytonutrients because they have that, there's a vitamin regimen. It's the vitamin B1, B6, B12, phytonutrients, certain oils, so I take several different oils, and it's supposed to stimulate your neurons in your brain to grow. But why not do it? Why not do it? Why not, okay, what if it does work? Well, then you stimulate your brain growth. Again, it's the nerves. I don't know if it's the nerves. I could not explain it technically, but you can regrow brain cells in some way, shape, or form. And maybe I'll get more information on you for that, just to tell you what I'm doing, so that maybe you could say, hey, you know what? I think I'll take a stab at that as well. It would what they're saying is that you can become smarter because your brain, or you can stop getting dumber. So your brain is actually shrinking, and you're losing your capacity to retain information or even learn information, because again, your brain, as you age, it's deteriorating. Well, this regimen helps in that. If you want to know about the regimen, just leave a comment, or message me or something in Facebook, and I'll share exactly what I'm doing, and I'll reference the articles. I may do that anyhow in another episode. Here's another article about healthy eating or whatever. Don't forget the fat. This is an amazing story as well, because now they're saying, well, fat is actually good for you. What do you think of that? For years, and there's a whole story behind this, and it has to do with the Sugar Institute years back, decades back, when they were saying sugar's bad for you, and the Sugar Institute, I'm not going to go into the whole thing, but they put a lot of money, millions and millions and millions of dollars behind pushing their product, as you would expect, what's new. But this is almost criminal what happened here. Fat is good for you in moderation. New trends in health and wellness. Essential oils. Oh, brother. And I'm sure they're good for you too. Here's a jade face roller. A jade. Okay, I don't know if you can see this, but this little device here, I guess it's a little piece of jade. It's a little piece of jade on it looks like a little mini paintbrush roller. Yes, and you roll it on your face. I guess, what is it? Made with jade stone, have been used to massage the face since the 17th century. They claim to help rid the skin of toxins, reduce puffiness, and improve blood flow. There is minimal evidence that they make a real difference, but they can sure feel good. Oh boy, breath work and meditation. Hey, that's probably good, Meditate, have some quiet time, get some good breathing. Probiotics as health boosters, this is pretty good. This is good stuff. I went to Kaiser Health News, which is an aggregator of news stories. That's where I read the news for the past couple days on the Medicare and coffee, and it was terrible. This is more helpful than what we looked at there. They were talking about abortion and all this other stuff. Those are important things, but we're interested in health. We're interested in having better outcomes in our life. Outcomes. That's a newer type of word. Yeah, we want to be healthier and have a better quality of life. But when I say outcomes is the newer type, everything is about outcomes now. Not everything, but a lot of things. It's like we need, like in school or whatever, you want certain outcomes versus, the yesteryear where they didn't focus on the outcome. They focused on what you put into it, what you put into schooling, what you put into your education, what you put into your craft, your trade. It wasn't about, well, these are the outcomes that we are looking for. Again, it's what you put into is what you get out. You don't have to focus on the outcome up front. So they're looking at people and studying their outcome, and it may be good, and I'm sure it is good, but not at the cost of what you put into it. House plants that improve air. Okay, a Caribbean tree cactus, a jade plant. There's jade again, but that's a different type of jade. A Bonnie spider plant, zebra grass spider plant, Song of India. I've heard of that before, that plant. Let's see. The Janet Craig Zirconia. So this person, Janet Craig, has a plant named after her. Removes toxic chemical called trichloroethylene, or TCE, says there. He used to go with the abbreviation. So some plants can improve the air quality. Nature can heal. Another article. Yeah, sure. You get out there in nature, it can heal. Because it can make you feel better, right? And that's the problem with a lot of older people. Again, I've been in thousands of homes. The problem often with older people is that how should I say this? They stay indoors too much. okay, when they turn 65, they stay indoors too much, or when they retire, they don't get out and about enough. I see the people that get out and about, they're healthier. How to lower your risk of falling. This is a big deal. One of the number one killers of old folks, especially as they get in their 70s, and I've seen this over and over, is falling. Bad injuries that enable, well, you go in the hospital and you are exposed to, the super bugs in the hospital or germs, and that's one thing, but also that you're bedridden, people with developed pneumonia. It's just terrible. I have a way to adjust that as well, and that's to be stronger. People should be working out, and when I say that, I don't want to preach here, but as you get older, you should be lifting some weights. You should be going to the gym. Most of these health plans have what's called silver sneakers attached to them. Not most, many have silver sneakers, or just join the gym. But when you sign up for a lot of these plans, you get silver sneakers for free. So you go to the, like a lot of YMCAs, the big gyms here have it, Anytime Fitness, which is one of those 24-hour places. It's a big chain. And you go and lift weights because that increases your bone density. I'm not a doctor. But I've read this. This is simple stuff. You don't need to be a doctor. All right. So this is basically keep obstacles out of your path. And a lot of people, you go in their home, they got stuff everywhere because they've accumulated stuff. It's everywhere. Little stools and little, maybe it's a flower pot or something that's on the floor. Move that stuff out of the way. Clear the path. I can see a hoarder listening to me now. They're like, whoa, that's a big task. Rugs. Secure your rugs firmly to the floor. I want to go through these real quick. Let's see. Avoid climbing and reaching the high shelves. If you keep your stuff you use all the time down low, and don't be risky. If you're 65, you should be able to climb a ladder. I had a client that was 85 years old, painting houses. My family were tradesmen, and they were all working. They worked to my father. He was basically working until he got COPD. It actually wasn't COPD, but his lungs failed him. He was a tool and die maker. He worked with different types of metals. It got into his chest, into his lungs, and it came back and got him. And fortunately, that didn't get to him to the last year or so of his life. So before that, though, and he died at 78. Before that, he was fine. He was out working, splitting logs. He had a log splitter. He built the log splitter, though. He built his own log splitter, and he got a place up in the mountains, and he farmed. I say farmed. He had a garden. He had a garden, and but he was very active. Many seniors are. That goes back to this other article about how nature can heal. It's you got to have a purpose and get out there. But let's keep moving. Outside, use only step ladders that are steady and have a handrail. Okay, so inside or out. Don't be climbing. Use a nightlight in your bedroom don't get up in the middle of the night. Again, this is for the people that aren't sure-footed. I expect when I'm 65, I want to be able to do a flip off the diving board. And I mean that. I don't think there's any reason why a 65-year-old shouldn't be able to do everything. And if you are stagnated at 65, you got to get moving. Kitchen, of course, safety procedures. Clean up spills right away. I'm terrible with that. I'll spill something and keep cooking, but maybe you should stop. Bathroom, grab bars near the toilet and shower. Yeah, if you're at that age, if you're getting where you can't walk and you're not steady, you want to do that stuff. Carpet should be secured. You don't want loose rugs. Stairs, wooden stairs can be slippery. So wear some rubber-soled slippers, and make sure your handrails are sturdy. Keep hallways lit at night. That's a good idea as well. let's see. Put a bell on your pet's collar. That's a good idea. So, you know, I could go on, and maybe maybe I will go into that, you know, more detail, because there are more, but I don't want to just bog down on that. Let's see. Yeah, there's more, but I think I've gone through enough. I don't know how many minutes I'm into this, but 23 minutes, I think that's enough for now. I'm happy to have spent a little bit of time with you and had a little bit of coffee. My coffee's cold. I hate when it's cold. And I look forward to our next sit down where we can talk about Medicare. We didn't even talk about Medicare today, and coffee. So I got to figure out how to close this out, because I really don't know how, which is really interesting. I mean, I have no idea. I can click stop streaming, and then I'll say goodbye.